I've been in Indonesia for 3 years now.
Okay, that's good. You're a Denmark, right?
Yes, I'm from Denmark.
Okay, so please tell your culture about your culture shock now.
My culture shock in Indonesia? Well, coming from Denmark, Denmark is a super small country compared to Indonesia. We don't live so close to each other. Our tallest building in Copenhagen is like 5 stories. Everyone is bicycling. So landing in Jakarta and just leaving Jakarta airport and going into traffic is the first time where you feel like, wow, this is a different place.
Yes.
Driving into Jakarta with skyscrapers everywhere, as many new buildings are being built that buildings are already there, right? So you really feel like this is insane. This is a city that's exploding, right? At the same time, it's a super confusing city. I mean, you don't really have the city center like you're used to in Europe. It's more like the city's just exploding up from all angles and stuff like that. So just settling in is quite hard, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can elaborate your answer, like when you very first time you arrived in Indonesia, can you tell us about your honeymoon stage? Like everything is new. Can you find something interesting about Indonesia, maybe?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you arrive in Indonesia the first time, you first thing is you meet the Indonesian people, right, who are super friendly. Probably the most friendly and forthcoming people, right? Even if you can't speak with them, Bluebird drivers are just so friendly and really does everything they can to get you to the right destination, even though they have no clue where you're going and you can't talk to them, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's amazing. People are really friendly. Jakarta, I mean, there's so much to do in Jakarta. So besides the traffic and all the bad things that people say, I mean, in the beginning, you're just impressed by all the different restaurants, the nightlife, which is like huge every night in Jakarta. All the different options in terms of doing sports, going to the gym, going to these huge malls, right? I mean, yeah, there's a lot to see in the beginning, I think, in Jakarta.
After that, you're getting very interested, and then you're happy Indonesia. I think you feel shock stage, like, are you getting homesick? And then little problems come to you. Can you tell us?
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you get to a new place in the beginning, right, the first 1 or 2 months, you know, you're just going with the flow, you're probably doing something every night because just so many options, right? But then after a while, no matter where you go in the world, right, it always gets every day again. So you go to work, you go home, you eat dinner, you go to sleep. You might not want to go out every night like you wanted to do in the beginning, right? So of course everything gets back to normal, and you just have more time to think, like, you know, what am I doing here? Is it the right thing to do, right? You're far away from home. Also, I mean, when you're in your home city, you have lots of friends and you have a family there. But when you're abroad, you only have, you know, the people that you actually make those first couple of months. And of course, they're not as close friends as your friends who you know who you have maybe known since elementary school.
Okay, and then after that, can you adjust that? Like, this is the moment you think, are you willing to stay in Indonesia or you go back to Denmark? Can you tell us?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think I could probably stay in Indonesia under the right conditions, right?
Yes.
But to be honest, it's also so far away from Denmark. I mean, I only go home to Denmark maybe like twice a year, so you don't really see your family a lot. So, I mean, primarily based on that, I probably wouldn't stay in Indonesia, even though it's a wonderful country and there's so many opportunities here.
Okay, that's good. And then, when you're able to stay, are you get the bicultural identity? Are you feel only Denmark, or are you feel you're Indonesian too right now?
I don't feel I'm Indonesian yet.
Okay.
You kind of stand out, right, no matter what. But at least I don't feel like a tourist anymore, right? You know, I don't feel, the first month I felt super odd when I was walking in the mall. I felt everyone was looking at me and, you know, I didn't feel like I belonged.
Yes.
But at least now, you know, I know my way around. And I just think that the fact that people can see that, you know, when you get into a taxi, you know where you're going and you actually know the day better than the taxi driver, right? And when you're in a mall, you know where the shops are and you speak a little bit of Bahasa Indonesia. I think that makes you more part of society, and I also think Indonesians accept you a lot more when you're actually able to speak the language a little bit and you know your way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you think you'll go back to Denmark, are you feel stranger in your own culture? because you're getting used to Indonesia where we are super hot.
Yeah. I don't think I would feel strange in my own culture, but I think I would see my own culture in a different way.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, again, Indonesia is so different from Copenhagen, right? So I think I would just see things that we do in Copenhagen, which used to be the normal thing to do. I would see that in a whole new perspective. Or maybe things that we have in Copenhagen that we take for granted, but you don't have in Indonesia. I mean, I would probably appreciate those things more, right?
That's very good. And about stereotypes, what do you think about Indonesia's stereotype?
Yeah. It's actually a hard question. I haven't heard so many stereotypes about Indonesians per se before coming here. I think, I mean, what do you hear about Indonesia before going here? I mean, you hear about a lot about the traffic, you hear about how chaotic it is in a way. And I mean, most of those stereotypes are kind of true, right? In a way, yeah. Things I've discovered, I mean, I think Indonesians are super social people, probably more social than you would see in Denmark and Europe. In Europe, we are a bit more structured and down to the point, and whereas maybe also one of the stereotypes about Indonesians are that a bit more relaxed, we can do things as they come. I mean, if we are half an hour late, it doesn't really matter, right? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's things you really have to adjust to when you go here.
Okay. And then before you come to Indonesia, what your family or your friends think about Indonesia? What are they saying to you?
Yeah. So Indonesia is really far away from Denmark, right?
Yes.
And the most Danes don't understand Southeast Asia that good, to be honest. So when I told my mom I was going to Jakarta, she thought I was going to Malaysia. I mean, so Danes don't really know so much about Indonesia. Of my friends who's been traveling over here and who actually knows a little bit about it, they just said that it's an amazing country. It's a beautiful country, and there's so many opportunities to be here.
Cool. And then could you share your negative or positive prejudice since moving here?
Yeah. So the positive things are definitely that people are so friendly and forthcoming. You hardly ever meet anyone who's not friendly or tries to help you or smiling, right? I mean, even if people are, from not that affluent, I mean, they're still happy and they try to get the best out of it. I think that's probably what I've most positively impressed about Indonesia. The things that annoy me the most might be that people walk very slowly.
Yes.
They walk like so slow, so I have to take over people all the time. That's probably what my biggest annoyance. Of other things, like I said before, I mean, you have to get used to the culture, right? I mean, here it's more about, a deal is not a deal until it's actually completed, right? You kind of have to more go with the flow and take things as they come. You can't plan so much ahead. But that's just something you have to accept, I think, and then you have to get used to it.
Okay, that's very good. And then, have you experienced any negative or positive discrimination?
Yeah?
Since living here,
Definitely.
people mark up their price because you are an expert.
Yeah. I mean, yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, Indonesia is a country which is super conscious about race, I think. I mean, they even have a different name for foreigners compared to Indonesians, right? And there's definitely both positive and negative things. I mean, it feels like the positive discrimination is probably that it feels like you are kind of, you might be, sometimes people might even ask you to skip line, or you might get, a bit more benefits, you might get a better service if you're bule. And of negative discrimination. I mean, as a foreigner in Indonesia, you don't always feel so welcome because it's so complicated to be here. Actually, right? You have to go through these, so many things just to get a kitas and other more administrative things, which are super complicated.
Okay. And last, can you describe Indonesia from your opinion, please?
So Indonesia, in my opinion, overall, taking pros and cons, I actually really love Indonesia. I really like it here, and it's primarily because it's so forthcoming and easy to adjust to. Actually, that's another thing. So you asked about the cultural shock, right? I probably think my biggest surprise here was that I didn't get a cultural shock. I mean, Indonesia, kind of have the same humor as we do in Europe. You know, speak the same way when you speak English. I mean, it's not that different. And I think that was probably my biggest surprise, that it was such a small difference from Indonesians and Western Europe. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Lasse.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.